When someone runs a Google search, they're actually searching an index that Google has compiled. Google gets this index by crawling the web link by link. When Google arrives on a website, it crawls all the links on that site and then follows those links to other sites where it continues to repeat this process. The position of your site in Google's search results is determined based on hundreds of variables, all derived from the content in Google's index. Now, some of these factors are specific to a keyword, say how many times it appears on your site, if it appears in the title, if your site includes synonyms of that keyword. Beyond the keyword, Google is going to look at the quality of your site, how many people link to it, how you're using your titles, and any similar pages. Another important factor is how easily Google can crawl the site. Is it clear what is most important? Can Google find all the content by following every link on your page? They may even take into consideration the browsing habits of the users conducting the search. In general, you can improve the rank of your site by making it something that users will want to use and share. But I know that's not specific enough. And based on what I shared earlier, hundreds of variables would be a lot to take into consideration when you're just getting started. So I've boiled it down to what I see as the 5 most influential components to good rank in local SEO. If all you could do was work on these 5 areas, you'd likely be in pretty good shape. Now, we cover these in more detail throughout this course, but let's touch on them now. The first is having a high-quality Google My Business profile. When you verify your listing on Google My Business, you'll gain authenticity and authority on the category you've selected. You've given Google a very strong signal as to who you are and what you're about. The second is having really relevant on-page content. Your Google category is fairly broad, so carrying on the example of cupcake bakeries, if you've categorized yourself as a bakery, you need to confirm on your website that you are indeed a bakery, but also introduce the fact you're a cupcake bakery. This is where on-page keyword optimization is crucial. Third is listing your business name, address, and phone number around the web. Authoritative local sites such as the Yellow Pages and Yelp are all beneficial in reaffirming to Google that you are who you say you are. Fourth is collecting great links. Google wants to know that people are interested in your site. If you've got quality sites linking back to yours, Google is going to take note. The more inbound links that you have, the more popular you probably are. And the fifth component is reviews. Now, I'd argue that Google reviews are of significant value, but reviews on Yelp and other sites are going to be helpful as well. The reviews should be authentic, but we'll talk more on that later. These 5 ranking factors are tied together with a theme of consistency. They're better together than they are in silos, so make sure that you've got consistent information across all of your efforts to maximize the impact. Search engine optimization involves a significant investment in time and effort. It's not something you simply set up in an afternoon. You'll spend a lot of time over the coming months researching and building on your strategy, refining it by reviewing the data, and adjusting your course of action based on what your competitors are doing. Eventually, your SEO will start to pay a return on that investment, but it's a long-term strategy, one that can often take upwards of 4 to 6 months before the real results become visible. Now, it's easy to get overexcited when you start seeing big wins early on in your efforts. As you rapidly build the early parts of your strategy, you're bound to generate some interest from Google and other search engines. They'll crawl your site, better understand your signals, and an effort to investigate what you're doing might provide you with an early gain in rank. And then, nothing. It might feel like you've fallen off a cliff within the first couple of months. My advice here is to remain encouraged and continue pressing forward with your strategy, as long as it's a good one. Scott Clark of Buzz Media created a great illustration I want to share with you. Here he charts what he calls the gap of disappointment in SEO. You have a ton of effort early on that comes with a lack of results, but eventually things start to click. Your strategy reaches maturity and the wins arrive. This gap is the hardest part to press through. I want to set the right expectation for you. SEO is hard and it'll be an uphill battle at times. But if you've implemented the right strategy, you'll eventually see meaningful results. Now, another mistake is looking at the roadmap ahead and deciding to put local SEO off for later. No matter how long you wait, there will always be this time that is required for your SEO to settle in. The longer you wait, the further off your results are, and the further ahead your competition can get. While you work on your SEO, it's important, however, to have diversification in your marketing efforts. You may want to set aside a budget to run search advertisements, explore local or more traditional marketing efforts, and continue building your social media presence. Now, I wouldn't risk it all on SEO. Make sure you have a backup plan in the event your strategy doesn't pan out exactly like you hoped. By having realistic expectations about the project ahead, you'll avoid pulling the plug too early and wasting that initial investment.